Hello, I'm John Rezick, and I serve as Assistant Vice Chancellor for Global Affairs here at ECU. And I'd like to welcome you to the first of our Wanderlust Wednesdays of the 2020 academic calendar. As everyone knows, this year has been unique and challenging for all of us here in higher education, and particularly for those of us in international education. Normally, Global Affairs assists over 700 students to go abroad as part of academic or co-curricular programs here at ECU. This summer and fall, we didn't run any programs due to the COVID-19 pandemic. This event itself is a virtual substitute for the study abroad fair we normally put on every October due to the conditions surrounding the pandemic. Given the social distancing requirements of the university, we can't do that this year, so we're excited about offering a new version of our study abroad fair, as we're calling Wanderlust Wednesdays. Each Wednesday for 3 weeks, and again in 3 weeks, for 3 weeks in October, we'll host 4 virtual sessions each day. The first begins at 2 o'clock and concentrates on a specific program or programs. The second is our virtual version of our normal interest session, and that starts at 4 o'clock. The third session at 5 o'clock highlights a specific region of the world, and this week it's the Americas. And each Wednesday, we'll also have a special presentation which will cap off the programming, and that starts at 7 p.m. For each of these sessions that you participate in as an individual student, you'll be entered into a drawing to win $25 in bounty bucks. So that's exciting. Before I turn it over for our first speaker today, I would like to remind everyone that ECU's top priority is safety and security for our students. We will only run programs when it's advisable based on CDC and UNC system guidelines. That may be this spring, we're hoping, but it could be this summer or perhaps even this fall. Please stay tuned. With that in mind, though, we do hope you consider study abroad during your academic career here at ECU, sometime during that career. It is a great investment in your future. So for our first speaker, I'd like to welcome Marissa Pierre, who is with ISEP. Marissa, are you there?
Thank you, John, for that introduction. As he mentioned, my name is Marissa Pierre. I work for ISEP Study Abroad as a University Relations Manager. And today I will be giving you just a quick overview of our program offerings and what you can expect on an ISEP program. And I'll also talk a little bit about our programs in the Americas. So first, I did want to talk about why you should go abroad and why this is such a life-changing experience. Obviously, if you're tuning in or if you're watching this later as a recorded session, you probably already have an interest in going abroad. But these are just some good reasons to keep in mind, some good outcomes. So, of course, the ability to travel to new places. That's a big part. Of course, students have the ability to travel to different countries, different cities while they're abroad. Advancing your education. So you have the ability to maybe take classes that you wouldn't normally have access to at your home university. Maybe you're, taking advanced classes. So it's a way to stay on track for your degree, but to also get a really cool experience while doing that. Being immersed in a different culture, this is kind of a no-brainer. You get access to completely different culture. You're learning about their customs and their way of life, and ISEP's programs specifically are very immersive, so we put high value on being fully immersed in the country you are in. Honing your language skills. So this is also a really great part of study abroad. If you are interested in a language or you're currently studying a foreign language, going abroad is probably the best way to improve your language skills. And I'll talk more later about our options for language programs, but we do have quite a few of them. Boost career opportunities. So you can put your study abroad experience on your resume, and employers do look for that. They're looking for people who are who have multicultural experience, who are open-minded, who have taken the opportunity to try something, to do something that not many students do. Develop new interests. This also just goes along with everything mentioned previously, is you're being exposed to so many new things, and from that you can learn about yourself, learn about others, and maybe pick up a new skill or hobby. And then finally, make lifelong friends. This is something that I can attest to. Having studied abroad, I still keep in touch with people I met from studying abroad almost 6 years ago. So it's a really, it's just a really impactful way to connect with others. And I think that's a really special part of it. So why should you study abroad with ISEP? Well, number one, we are affordable. We pride ourselves on being an affordable option for students from all walks of life, all different backgrounds, and we want to make study abroad accessible for all students. So it shouldn't matter what your financial background is, your academic background. We want to make sure that we are eliminating those barriers for you to go abroad. Number two, accessible. So we have over 150 institutions that we partner with for programs in over 50 countries. So your options are pretty much limitless. You have so many options to choose from. So we really focus on providing the best fit opportunities for students. And then finally, immersive, as I was saying earlier, we really do try and give students opportunity to live like a local. So that's our slogan, and we really do, we abide by that. We make sure that students are having an authentic, genuine cultural experience while they're abroad. So where can you go and what can you study? So like I mentioned, we have programs in over 50 countries, every continent, outside of Antarctica, of course. And you can do a full semester, so spring or fall study. You can do a full year, so an academic year, or you can do a short-term summer or winter break program. So we have options, short and long-term, for students who maybe don't want to do a full semester. They just kind of want to get their feet wet and experience what it's like to go abroad. They can do a summer program with us. We also have a few winter break programs. So that's a great way to just, if you're maybe not sure about the length of a full semester, that's a good way to get exposure. But we do have many students who do full semesters, who do full years, and they don't regret it at all. And what can you study? So ISEP, we support all majors. You can be pretty much any major and go abroad with us. We also support STEM. I know that's an area that students may have concerns about classes and courses available as a STEM student, but we do offer bio, chem, engineering, mathematics. So like I said, we support virtually every major. And we have classes at the undergraduate and graduate level. So if you are in grad school or you're thinking about pursuing grad school after undergrad, you can potentially get some credit for your graduate program. Now we'll talk about our different program types, and don't want to confuse you too much on these. It's just a way that we kind of divide our program options. So we have two. We have what we call ISEP Exchange, which is the most popular option, and we also have ISEP Direct. And ISEP Exchange is the most popular option because it allows students to pay what they normally pay for a semester abroad, so tuition, housing, and meals, but they're getting those same things while they're abroad, and they're not paying extra for them. So that means that all your financial aid, so your federal and state financial aid, should transfer. And you can also apply to up to 10 programs on the ISEP application. So if you are not placed in your first choice, you still have 9 other choices that could potentially work for you. So ISEP Exchange is really great for in-state students who have a lot of financial aid that they want to make sure goes with them. And I would say that the only caveat to Exchange is that we do have some sites that are more limited. So our really popular destinations may be a little bit more competitive. And when we're looking at applications, we are looking at academic suitability. So GPA, your reference letter, your transcript, those are all taken into consideration for those more competitive sites. So that's just something to keep in mind. But all in all, like I said, you can apply to up to 10 programs on your application. So you can still have a number of options. ISEP Direct is a little different. It's what we would consider a fee-based program model. So you are not paying you are not paying your home institution. You are paying ISEP directly, and you are essentially paying what the equivalent is to study in that specific country. So for many students, ISEP Direct could actually be the cheaper option. So if you are going to a country where things like tuition and housing just are more affordable, that could actually be a more affordable option for you. And all of our ISEP Direct programs include tuition and insurance, and many programs also include housing, and some also include meals. So Direct is also better if you maybe want to find housing on your own, or you don't necessarily want a meal plan. With a Direct program, you can just pay tuition and then be independent for those other options. Most of your financial aid should also transfer for ISEP Direct. You will want to make sure you talk to the financial aid office when you're thinking about studying abroad and how financial aid plays into that. But if you have federal and state aid, that should transfer no problem. And then finally, a really good part about ISEP Direct is that you have pretty much a guaranteed placement in your first choice, as long as you meet the academic criteria. So you only have to apply to one site, and you don't have to list 10 like with the exchange option. So this is great for students who know they only want to study in one place, in one country, and they absolutely just want to go there, especially if it's more competitive in terms of placement. So ISEP Direct could be a good option for that. So that is just a quick summary of our different program types. I know it can be a little confusing, so I'm happy to answer questions after, or you can shoot me an email if you'd like more clarification on these. Outside of just study programs, we also have internships and service learning. And there are also, again, there are different types of internship opportunities. And I will just give a brief rundown of the three of them. So we have what we call our full-time internships. And so these are credit-bearing internships that you are not taking classes at all. You are just interning abroad. And global internships are a great way to get that really standout experience. Not many students have the opportunity to intern abroad, so that really does stand out on your resume when you're interviewing. It's something that you could definitely talk up when you're applying for jobs in the future. Like I mentioned, these are credit bearing, so they are unpaid opportunities, but you can get credit for them. And we've adapted our full-time internships to virtual. So with COVID, of course, many of these sites are not available currently, but you can do a full-time internship or a part-time internship virtually with an international organization. And so there's more details about those virtual internships in the middle of the slide there, but basically you would be getting the same types of professional development, coaching, basically everything you would get with an on-site internship that's in person, but you just don't have to pay for housing and things like that. So it's still very much a possibility to intern with a global organization, but you can do it from the comfort of your home. Outside of our full-time internships, we have what we call study and intern programs. So these are hybrid programs where you would be taking classes, generally 3 to 4 classes, and then you would have an internship or some other type of career add-on opportunity with your program. And these are really popular because if you still want to take classes and you still want to, get credit for your major, but you want a, a different kind of experiential experience, you can do a study and intern program. So study and intern programs are available on both ISEP Exchange and Direct. So that means that many of them you're not paying extra for the internship component. So it's a good way to still get the global career insight and experience, but you're not necessarily having to pay for that. And then the same with our study and service learning, similar to study and intern, you are still taking classes, but you have either a volunteer opportunity that you're doing outside the class, or you're doing something like teaching in a classroom. So we have a few programs where if you're an education major and maybe you're wanting to do elementary education, we do have a program where you can teach teach English in a classroom. So those are really great ways, again, to get kind of that holistic experience outside of just your normal courses. And I do want to highlight our virtual service learning program in Barcelona. So if you are still interested in doing some type of service learning or some type of internship, we do have a really great one that's based in Barcelona, but you would be working from home, obviously. But we would still match you with an organization that's in Barcelona, and you'd be working with that organization as your service learning project. So it's still a great opportunity. Again, I know virtual is not ideal in many ways, but you can still get really great experience. Briefly, just going over our options in the Americas. So we have programs in Canada. So if maybe you're not wanting to go super far, we do have, I believe, 3 to 4 options in Canada, and you can study there. You couldn't do an internship or volunteer, but we do just have study programs there. In Central America, we have Mexico and Costa Rica, and at both of these countries, we have all the options. So you have study, intern, and volunteer. And I know our Costa Rica site is really popular for students who are interested in Earth studies, sustainability. We have really great partnership with Earth University there, where you would essentially be living and working on a sustainable campus. So it's really great for students who are interested in that type of work. And in South America, we have quite a few options. We have Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, and Ecuador. And the options here will vary, but in total, you can study, intern, or volunteer in South America. So that's just a quick overview of the Americas. I know that's the focus for today, so I just wanted to highlight those options. Excuse me. Moving on to scholarships. So this is something that I usually get questions on, so I did want to include it in this presentation. As I mentioned, your federal and state financial aid should transfer for our programs. Just be sure to meet with financial aid and get clarity on that. But outside of that, you do have options where you can apply for additional scholarships and additional aid. So for ISEP, we have quite a few scholarships. These are just 3 of them. The Community Scholarship and the Founders Fellowship. Any student applying to any program can apply for these scholarships. The Annette Cade scholarships are for students going to French and German speaking countries. So you would have to be applying to a country, a Francophone country or a German speaking country to apply for that scholarship. In addition to these 3 scholarships, we have our host institutions that sponsor scholarships. So just be sure to check our website and see what options there are for maybe you're interested in a specific program or country. We might have a scholarship just for that program. And then other scholarships you can look into, the Gilman, the Boren, and Diversity Abroad all have great options for underrepresented students, students who are high financial need. So make sure that you are doing your research and just looking into what ways you can get more funding to study abroad. So ISEP Promise, I did want to highlight, this is a very tumultuous and kind of volatile season we're in right now with COVID. So I did want to highlight our health and safety and just assure you that health and safety is our #1 priority, and we want to ensure that we're providing the best experience for you. So our risk-free policies, with a heightened travel advisory, we're committed to making sure that you have options if you were not able to travel and go on your program. So the first thing is we can offer you a placement in a different program. We can defer you to a later semester for no additional cost, or we can provide a full refund of your program fee. So if you are planning to go abroad in the spring or later semester and ECU or ISEP has to cancel that program or doesn't allow you to travel, we will make sure that we have an option for you. And again, as I mentioned, we are committed to health and safety. So all ISEP programs include health insurance that is mandatory, and you have for the duration of your program. And with that, you have access to our On-Call International, which is a 24/7 emergency hotline, and they can assist you with any type of need you have there. And then you'll also have support at your host institution at your program. So we have an ISEP coordinator at every ISEP institution. So that's the point person you can go to if you have any concerns or questions. And then finally, our dedicated ISEP staff. So we're supporting you throughout the process from as soon as you show interest through when you return from your program. So we have ISEP student services coordinators who are your designated point person from the ISEP side to support you. Excuse me. So if you have questions about spring 2021 and what that will look like for study abroad, you can go on our website. I've linked the article there, but you can check that out. And finally, make sure you are following us on social. We are on just about every platform. So Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. We also have a really great student blog. I encourage you to check those out because those are straight from the students, those student perspectives. You can get a really good look into what it's like to study abroad on an ISEP program. And so if you're interested in moving forward, these are just your next steps. So one, you'll want to make sure you meet with your study abroad advisor in the ECU Study Abroad office, just get more information on the process there. You can also reach out to me for help with finding a program, and then you can start an application on our website by going to isep.org/apply. All right, thank you for your time and for tuning in. I will now take any questions.
Hey, Marissa, this is Whitney Morris in the Office of Global Affairs. I'm going to be relaying questions to you.
Okay.
So the first question we have is, what are the costs to apply for a program?
That's a good question. So the application fee is $100, and then we also have what we call a placement fee, and that is $395. And for exchange programs, that is what you would pay basically to get your placement and all the work that we do to find a best fit program for you. For a direct.
Oh, pardon. And what is the timeline on when students pay those two fees?
Oh, okay. So the application fee of $100 is required when you submit your application to ISEP. So once you've completed your application and it's been approved by ECU, you would then have to pay the $100 application fee to submit it to ISEP.
Okay, thank you.
And then the placement fee doesn't come till later once you receive your placement for exchange. And then for direct, it's actually a program deposit, so it's coming out of your total program fee, so it's not an additional fee. But those costs, the $395, do not come until after you've been placed in a program and you are wanting to accept your program.
All right, the next question, we're being asked whether the PowerPoint will be available to the students that are attending and whether they can send it to their parents.
Oh, sure, yes, I'm happy to share it. Yep, I can send that out.
Okay. And let's see, the next question is about intended nursing majors. Do you work with many or any intended or declared nursing majors?
That's a good question. So nursing is, it can be challenging to find a program that would fit in the timeline for what you need to accomplish for the degree. But I would say the students I have worked with who are interested in nursing or who are pursuing nursing, they typically do a short-term summer program. So we have programs that are as short as 2 weeks. So if you don't have the ability to do a full semester or even a longer summer program, we do have very short-term summer programs for that.
And since you mentioned those short-term summer programs, is there anyone in particular that you would recommend for nursing majors?
That's a good question. We have so many. It would depend on what the student wants to focus on, like in terms of what type of nursing, but I think our programs in Latin and Central America are really great because I know students can get some intern opportunities and just some more experience outside the classroom.
Okay, the next question, the student is asking, what happens if I don't get placed at any of my selected universities?
Okay, that's a good question. That rarely happens. So during the advising process, like while you're working on your application, an ISEP student advisor will be working with you. And so if they feel that for some reason you are maybe applying to all really competitive sites that have limited chance of placement, they'll be working with you to find some alternatives so that you don't go unplaced. So there are very rare, I would say we hardly ever have students who go unplaced because we're working with them from the beginning to make sure that they have good options in their application.
And the final question we have for you is asking if there's a program available in Puerto Rico.
We do have programs in Puerto Rico, and I can't believe I forgot to mention that. That is part of our portfolio. So we do have 2 institutions in Puerto Rico. They're both University of Puerto Rico programs. And I believe that you do have to have a certain level of Spanish for those programs. So we do with our language programs, our programs that require a language component, you would have to submit a language evaluation with your application. So I forgot to touch on that, but yes, thank you for asking about that. We do have Puerto Rico.
And I had one more question slip in before I close the Q&A. So, and it's a really good one. The student is asking what the living situations are like. Do students live with host families or in dorm rooms while they're abroad?
Yeah, another good question. So we have a number of options. I would say most of our programs, students will be living in dorms or some type of housing on campus. But we do also have some programs that offer homestays. So if you're interested in that, there are select programs that offer that. Overall, yeah, I would say the majority of programs are going to be in student dorms on campus. So you'll be living with other students from that university as well as maybe other international students.
Okay. Well, those are all of the questions. Thank you for talking with us today, Marissa.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And our next session will be at 4 o'clock today. You can find the link to it at globalaffairs.ecu.edu/fair, and it will be our Study Abroad 101 information session that goes over all of our program types. And if you attended today, you'll be in our drawing for the $25 in bounty bucks, and you should find out whether you're a recipient by the end of the week. Thanks, everybody.